Episode 16, God Exists in Every Life, by Shrikant Soman. Based on Essays on Gita by Sri Aurobindo. Chapter 2, continued. The Divine Teacher continued. God exists in every life. Key takeaways. Partial manifestation of the Divine. Complete manifestation of the Divine, Avatar. Vaishnava concept of Avatar. Partial manifestation of the Divine. All existence is a manifestation of God because He is the only existence and nothing can be other than a real figuring or else a figment of that one reality. Therefore, every conscious being is in part or in some way a descent of the infinite into the apparent finiteness of name and form. However, it is a veiled manifestation. There is a gradation between the Supreme Being of the Divine and the consciousness shrouded partly or wholly by ignorance of self in the finite. The conscious embodied soul is the spark of the divine fire. This soul in man opens out to self-knowledge as it develops out of ignorance of self into self-being. In the same way, the divine pours itself into the forms of the cosmic existence. It is revealed ordinarily in an efflorescence, the production of a lot of art, especially of a high quality, of its powers. In energies and magnitudes of its knowledge, love and joy. Developed force of being. In degrees and phases of its divinity. Complete manifestation of divine avatar. On the other hand, the height of the conditioned manifestation of the divine is reached when the divine consciousness and power takes upon itself the human form and the human mode of action. It possesses it not only by powers and magnitudes, by degrees and outward phases of itself, but out of its eternal self-knowledge. It is when the unborn knows itself and acts in the frame of the mental being and the appearance of birth. It is the full and conscious descent of the Godhead. We can then call it the Avatar. Vaishnava concept of Avatar. The Vaishnava form of Vedantism has laid most stress upon this conception of Avatar. It expresses the relation of God in man, with the man in God, by the double figure of Narayana. It is associated historically with the origin of a religious school. It is very similar in its doctrines to the teaching of the Gita. Nara is the human soul which is the eternal companion of the divine. It finds itself only when it awakens to that companionship. As the Gita says, it then begins to live in God. Narayana is the divine soul. It is always present in our humanity. It is the secret guide, friend and helper of the human being. It is the Lord who abides within the heart of creatures, as per the Gita. The supreme uplifting of the embodied human conscious being into the unborn and eternal happens when the veil of that secret sanctuary is withdrawn from within us. Man then speaks face to face with God, hears the divine voice, receives the divine light and acts in the divine power. He then becomes capable of that dwelling in God. He gives up his whole consciousness into the divine. This, the Gita upholds as the best or highest secret of things. Uttamam Rahasyam.